The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. When bad men combine, the good must associate, else they will fall, one by one, an unpitied sacrifice, in a contemptible struggle. Edmund Burke, 1770. I have tried many times to encourage people to move to the South. There are many states, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, a dozen. Even some in the Midwest are okay. But there are states in our union that are irredeemable. Yesterday I had a message from a viewer saying that I was being haughty and high-minded for attacking the people of Michigan. Let me be very clear. If you are a good person, a decent person, a Christian person, a conservative, you are an enabler if you are living in Michigan. You are a collaborator. You are colluding with the enemy by allowing them to use your tax dollars. Everything you go out and purchase, every dime you spend, is going to work its way back to Lansing. And make no mistake, they are the enemy of freedom in America. And when the end comes, and things finally fall apart completely, and the lines are drawn, you will be given no quarter. I tried to use this image to be a little bit less graphic, but this is going to be the reality up north, far sooner than many people would like to admit. Men forced to beg, women forced into situations far worse, and that will be all that's left. And there's a day coming when I'm going to come out and say, I'm afraid no one can help you now, because it will be over. There has been recently published one of the most disturbing statements I have ever read in my life. I did not think it would arrive this soon. But in today's video, I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to show you what's really happening, who these people really are. One of their people said it in unambiguous, unmistakable terms, what they want and what they believe, and many missed it. There's a reason many months ago I put these little flags on these states. They are irredeemable. There's nothing that can be done. You're not going to change anyone's mind because they're not using their minds. They are operating 100% emotionally. Everything they do is based on how they feel about it, not on how they think about it or what they think about it. You are never going to change their minds, and it all starts right here. DC has become a habitation of devils. Now, what am I talking about? This individual right here, Dr. Leanna Wen, made a statement, and it even shocked Chris Cuomo. You can see the look on his face, the terrified look on his face when she made her statement. I tried to freeze frame it here so that you could see he had a deer in the headlights moment. It was even more than he expected to hear, and that's saying something. Now, let me read for you the statement from Dr. Leanna Wen. My main concern is that we're not going to reach herd immunity because of vaccine hesitancy. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to believe who desperately want the vaccine right now, and they're thinking, quote, oh, it's just a small percentage of people who are actually anti-vaxxers, and that's true. There's the anti-science, anti-vaxxer contingent, but there are many more people, millions of people who, for whatever reason, have concerns about the vaccine who just don't know what's in it for them. Now pay attention. Here's where things get terrifying. And we need to make it clear to them that the vaccine is the ticket back to pre-pandemic life. And the window to do that is really narrowing. You were mentioning about how all these states are reopening. They're reopening at 100%. And we have a very narrow window to tie reopening policy to vaccination status. Because otherwise, if everything is reopened, then what's the carrot going to be? How are we going to incentivize people to actually get the vaccine? This woman is actually making the contention that being free and going about your daily life is something that is granted to you by government, by Joe Biden. Even Chris Cuomo literally was shell-shocked when he heard this. This woman is really advocating the idea that the government under Biden tell people, you don't get a ticket back to pre-pandemic life. We control the pandemic. We control it. And if you don't do what we say, you get to stick back there in pre-pandemic life. Unbelievable. You can tell she was born in Shanghai. Continuing, so that's why I think the CDC and Biden administration need to come out a lot bolder and say, quote, and this is unbelievable, if you are vaccinated, you can do all these things. Here are all these freedoms you have. Who in the world does this woman think she is? How does she think government operates? You can tell this person was born in Shanghai. U.S. citizen, by the way. Because otherwise, people are going to go out and enjoy these freedoms anyway. How dare they? And I fear a situation is coming into the fall where we never reach herd immunity, and then we get hit by the next surge of COVID, something we could have prevented if we just forced people to have a vaccination. See, that's why the Florida governor's statements have been so prescient and so important. Reiterating time and time and time again. Even in his executive order, vaccines will never be mandatory. They will always be optional and voluntary. And no one will be able to be required, or pardon me, let me say that properly. No one will have the ability to require you to show proof of it in Florida. This is why states are so important. It is truly unbelievable. Absolutely the most clear and unambiguous statement, I know I said that before, of their intention and their belief that government is in charge of you. Government is in charge of everything. Government is in charge of freedom. Now do you see the enemy? Now do you see them? This is why I made these maps. Not all states are created equal. Not all governors are created equal. And there are options, believe me, before things get this bad. Let me see if I can count the states here. Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, who, by the way, just passed an amazing law forbidding anyone from enforcing federal gun control. Amazing job, Arkansas, by the way. But that's 3. Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. So that's 11 states that I have in the solid green. And if that's not possible, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky. Those 4. And I used a little campsite, meaning I wouldn't want to move there permanently. If you have to get out of these states, you could use this as maybe a springboard or a stepping stone. And I know there's a lot of listeners out there in South Dakota. You have a really good governor. You really do. Unfortunately, the state of South Dakota is not wealthy. It doesn't have a lot of money, and the federal government owns a great deal of Western land and has a vice grip on a lot of these Western states that they are too hopelessly out-leveraged to really fight back against DC. The South is not so, especially Florida. And I don't mean this to be as bad as it probably is sounding for some. But a day is coming when the lines are going to be drawn again. And if you are an enabler, if you are a colluder, if your money has been going to support these people in the North, this is just a reflection of what happened back in the 1860s. The amount of control they believe they are entitled to and that they have over people's lives. It is frightening. There are a lot of things people have made up, make-believe nonsense of things to be afraid of. This is it. The medical tyranny. Like, share, subscribe.